We kind of let everybody that was kind of cast out of all the other different crowds, were always welcome with us, with the nerds, the goons, whatever. I suppose we were the goons, but everybody was welcome. But the real, the bands that we listened to, and the real reason that punk rock had happened in the first place is because the rock and roll status quo had gotten so bloated up with 20-minute lead guitar solos on stage, and bands like Led Zeppelin and Journey and Pink Floyd and all this lofty, bloated, intellectualized music that was on a big stage that you couldn't get close to anymore. It was bands like the Dead Boys and the Damned and the Germs and several others, the Cramps, that brought it back right in your face in the small clubs and back to the venues, getting back to the essence of rock and roll without a huge amount of studio overproduction and that sort of thing, and basically bringing the rock and roll back to the kids. But then it opened the doorway to, that's why a lot of them cut their hair and spiked it, because they were, rebelling against the 60s movement, majorly, and of the 70s, long hair attitude. Myself, my father wanted me to cut my hair my whole life. As soon as it started getting long in the 70s, I had to cut it. So by the time the punk rock thing happened, I kind of spiked it. I kind of dyed it orange a couple of times and cut it off and did whatever. Now I really don't care.
What I love about that, it's you can just be yourself and you're just accepted, because there isn't like a punk rock rule book or whatever. If you want to have a purple mohawk 3 feet tall, or whatever you want, it just doesn't matter. It's more about what's in your heart than what clothes you're wearing or whatever. Have fun, play shows, and meet people. Keep the original spirit alive. Keep the memories of Dean and Bert and Don, and the list goes on and on and on. Just like raw energy, have fun, and here it is, it's in your face. If you don't like it, sorry. If you like it, sorry, and great, whatever.
Well, there's always been the kids, around in the scene and that, and Dale's always been there, man. It's just like, I'm glad to be a part of it, to tell you the truth, because I kind of laid low for a while, and we did 1096 for so many years, and then Dean passed away, and I was basically in hiding for 10 years. And I haven't really much picked up a guitar in 10 years. And Dale was always bugging me, and finally he got me out of the house and got me to make some noise once he convinced me Moon was on board, and I talked to Moon, and I think he kind of, he told Moon he had me, and he told me he had Moon. You know what I mean? It's come full circle, really, man. It's a blast. It's a lot of fun. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it.
I kind of want to throw some of the different bands that existed back there. So it's not just the Dead Leathers to me. It's kind of Charming Deviants, 1096, it's Die Monster Die, all the bands kind of rolled up into one. I actually would be interested in doing covers of different local bands from back then. Maybe a couple of Pink Godzilla songs. I never got to see them at all. It would have been neat to see them. I don't think any footage or any tape or anything survived of that band. Well, it's just an opportunity to be creative with a punk band again, And the punk band I played with was kind of a hardcore punk band, was what we called it back in the 80s. And now we're doing more of a traditional 77 thing, which is something I always dug back then even. It was totally more, I'd go play this kind of music, but then I'd go home and listen to like the Dead Boys and, that whole kind of thing. To me, it's just a chance to really just be creative with it again.
In the midst of this, in the 80s, of course, John Lennon was killed, shot dead. And all of us had some sort of roots with the Beatles. I think anybody from Led Zeppelin to Henry Rollins would say they had some influence in some part in their life from the Beatles. And just for him to be killed in such a horrible way, murdered, it made a huge impact on us. And it was at a time when there was a giant hill. They usually make these hills when they dig out basements for subdivisions. And it was by the Watertower out on Highway 50 and 31 out there. And there was a big hill. And we'd often go out there to drink some beers and, like kids go to the woods and, do those sorts of things to get away from everybody and drink and whatever. And after John was shot, it was a Monday night, I believe. Tuesday, Yoko Ono was saying she wanted everybody to have a 10 minutes of silence for John Lennon the following Sunday at 1 p.m. And that was probably my real, where my, love affair, I suppose, with the press began, because I immediately thought of this place, The Hill, and I called the Kenosha News and said all of our friends, which was the punk scene, and a lot of other people that hung out with us, weren't really punk rock, but they let us play at their parties and they were cool, but they weren't ready to, commit 100%, but they didn't have to. That was the point. In any case, then I thought what was going to happen is I was going to call the press, and I said, we're going to make a giant peace sign with our friends, and that's where we're going to be for the 10 minutes of silence for John Lennon. And I felt like, I wanted to let people know we were going to do that, so, more would come. And the press jumped on that story, of course, the local press, because I think that was the only thing anyone did for John Lennon in the area. And lo and behold, did that ever turn out to be one of the most strangest experiences in my life, because we definitely wanted to feel what John Lennon felt many times, and we made damn sure that we did that day. And we were up on the hill. We got up there. All our friends were up there. And the mind-blowing thing is that once we were on this hill and we had a huge crowd of our own, there was cars all around it. Anywhere in the circle of this place, you could see cars everywhere. I saw my parents watching on one side. My grandparents are, of course, long gone now. I saw them watching at another point. And then the strangest thing, people began to come up the hill from all directions and all age groups, and there was like people that definitely were there for the '60s, that looked. I like, who are all these old hippies? You know what I mean? Which probably most of them are younger than I am now, and they came from all directions to the top of the hill, and I can't tell you, that was probably the most. The closest to the '60s that I could possibly be, not having I lived through that era, but I wasn't a part of it. And in any case, I think we had 250 people that day. We all held hands. We made a giant peace sign for the 10 minutes of silence. And then after that, everyone pretty much disbanded except our group, which was Dean, Don, and everybody that was hanging around. Carla helped. Everybody hung around back in the day. And, we walked on, and we walked throughout the city and went on a journey of our own.
So sick of FM, don't play my stereo too. Just wanna get out in the street fight, just find something to do. Wanna get on out of here, find something to do. Wanna get on out of here, there ain't nothing to do. I'm so sick of TV. Get more around the tube. I'm so sick of romance. I'm getting real sick of you. Wanna get out of here, there's something to do. Wanna get out of here, there ain't nothing to do. There ain't nothing to do. I'll be at the WFC, then I'm coming to you. Ain't nothing to do. Ain't nothing to do. Ain't nothing to do. Ain't nothing. There ain't nothing to do. I'll be at the CIC, then I'm coming to you. Ain't nothing to do. Ain't nothing to do. Ain't nothing to do.